Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. I hope that you had a wonderful day at work, and I hope that you are now sitting on your couch, you are relaxing, that you have found some time to tune into this wonderful podcast and to just begin to detox your brain and relax those muscles from your hard day at work. Whether you are at home or even into the office, whatever the case may be, I hope that you are in a relaxed place, in a relaxed state, and I hope that you are ready to journey with us today. I am Chantel Brett, your domestic violence specialist, and I educate individuals on their decision to remain silent and why it's so important for them to begin to use their voice, because if they don't, they will continue to be locked into abuse. And this is the MFF Project Podcast. Our focus this year, and we're honing in on this for the whole year. I'm going to drill it into your head. I'm going to make you understand identity forwards, backwards, inside, out, from the north, east, west, and south. You will understand identity. You will understand what it means, how it has developed. You will understand how it starts from even before you were born and while you were in your mother's womb, and how it has begun and how different things were put on you and you took it on, and now it has shaped you into the woman or the person that you are today. And remember that you do have the power to change. You have the power inside of you to make the one decision that will change the direction of your life, right? So listen, I wanted to just share a little bit about identity. What is identity? Why do I keep talking about it? I think it's an important part of us as women to know who we are. When we know who we are, it helps us stay confident. It helps to build confidence. It helps with our self-esteem. If you are one of those, if you are someone who is suffering from low self-esteem, I guarantee it has something to do with your identity. It has something to do with your character. It has something to do with your belief system about yourself. What do you believe about yourself? What have you been taught to believe about yourself? All of those things shape your identity. And it starts very, very young. It depends on, it can depend on who's your mother, who's your grandma, who's your father, who is raising you, what school you went to, what community you were born in. All those things help to shape your identity. And today we're diving deep. I think that we have to begin as women to give voice to our identity. That we not only give voice to it, but we have to be able to look at ourselves, look at who we are, look at the things that possess us, the things that have shaped us, and then determine for ourselves if we love what we see. And if we don't love what we see, what will we begin to do in order to change it until we love what we see? But I believe that when you know who you are, that nobody can tell you no. Nobody can stop you from going where you're going. Nobody can stop you from getting some purpose. Nobody can keep you from your destiny, from your goals, from your daily goals. I think us as women, as mothers, you have you come when you get as a mother, you get a new identity, right? When you are growing up in high school, that is really where you are just trying a whole bunch of things, and you may not really know who you are, but somewhere down the road after those 4 years, you have some idea of who you are. And when you go to college, I mean, all that stuff can be broken down, and then you can come home and a totally new woman. I've seen it happen. I know it happened to me. And I think it's important that we identify who we are as women. What is our place in this world? Who are we called and destined to serve? And what position are we supposed to be standing in, walking in, and being flat footed in? So, listen, I had to get a specialist. As you know, I like to bring on someone who is knowledgeable, someone who can help us understand who we are. And I have a great guest today. Her name is LaVon Jones. She is an attorney, and she's going to help us with voice. Why is it so important for us to understand the power of the voice? Hello, LaVon. How are you?
I am doing so well. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a guest on your show. I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I am super excited to have you here. So please tell us what you do and just give us a little bit about you.
Yeah, great. So my name is LaVon Jones. I am an intellectual property attorney with the Creators Law Firm. I report directly to the CEO and founder of the firm. Her name is Takora Davis. Just a little bit background information about me. My family is originally from Bermuda. I moved to the United States when I was in my last year of high school. I currently hold 4 degrees, an associate degree in psychology, a bachelor's degree in anthropology and sociology, and a master's degree in criminal justice. And I do have my Juris Doctorate in law. After law school, I first started working in an immigration law firm. And after working there for about a year, I realized that my passion was more around creativity and business and entrepreneurship. And I was blessed to find out that the Creators Law Firm was hiring. And I started working part-time there in 2018. And last year I started working full-time, and now I'm the lead attorney of the firm. Other things about me is I'm a Christian. I have a passion for diversity and empowerment. I love traveling the world, and I am a serial learner. I love to educate myself about any and everything that's out there. So that's who I am.
Outstanding. Outstanding. All right. All right. We are. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You show us that it is attainable
Mm-hmm.
to continue on educating and to continue on learning. So what I heard was that she has 4 degrees, but
Yeah.
she has not stopped learning. She didn't stop there. She's not like, I have 4 degrees and I and so let me tell you this. No, no. She's like, yes, I have 4 degrees, but I love to learn. And it's
Yeah.
something that is ever evolving. And I love it. I just want to say kudos, shout out. Hey, awesome. Let me get half of your PhD, give me the D. I'll take the D.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes, so thank you so much for being on the show. And I want to just dive in
Mhm.
right away. What does
Okay.
identity mean to you?
Okay, this was a great question. And I say it was a great question because I think this has been a journey for myself, especially, I was raised by a single parent. My mother raised us, and so I was a first generational immigrant as well coming into the United States. So that was kind of tricky as well, like trying to hold on to my Bermudian roots. My father, he's American, but he wasn't around. And also, my Christian identity as well. So it was just, it was kind of weird growing up. But for me, identity really means authenticity. And authenticity means being who you naturally are without shame or fear. And you don't find out who you are until you realize whose you are. And for me, when I'm coming back to answer that question, who do I belong to? I go back to God, and I believe that we belong to God. And God says we are blessed, we are loved, we are courageous, victorious, free, and we are a masterpiece. So when I'm trying to reinforce who I am, I grasp and hold on to these truths deep down into my soul. And once you realize who God says you are, it allows you that freedom to love yourself the way that you are right now and who you can become. And it further makes me realize that we are not meant to be what we see or who we admire. We are supposed to be uniquely and authentically ourselves. And I really feel like that is what identity means to me.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. So I heard masterpiece. We are masterpieces. And I don't think enough women understand that we are masterpieces.
Mhm,
We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We were created for greatness. The word says that He knew us before we were even formed in our mother's womb. And
mhm.
then we're born and life happens. But that
Yeah,
purpose is still inside of us. We are
exactly.
still masterpieces, even if we've been broken, even if we've been hurt, even if we suffered a traumatic experience, a traumatic life experience, we are
Mhm.
still a masterpiece.
Exactly. Yeah,
And I
that is so
think,
true.
yeah, and if I think we know that, then that helps, the positive side of our identity, shaping that positive side of our identity. And it gives me confidence. Like, I'm going to remember that. Like, I got to keep reminding myself now, I'm a masterpiece. Like,
Yep.
wake up in the morning, I'm a masterpiece.
Yeah, and I mean, like, everybody goes through those trials and tribulations where they forget who they are, right? But even now, like, even though I accomplished so much in my life, I still have to remind myself of this, and I write it down in my journal all the time. I'm always writing it down, like, I am victorious, I am a masterpiece, I am free, because like, that negativity around can seep into your mind and start weighing heavily on you. So just constantly reminding yourself of all of this positive definitions of who you are is really so empowering, and it really helps you move past, hurts and pains in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that I like that you said, and it really just led right into my next question, which is, who helped shape your identity? And I heard you say that you you moved here from Bermuda. So, being an immigrant, right?
Mhm.
Kind of help us understand that, because I believe, I honestly believe everybody's an immigrant in America.
Yeah, exactly.
But even for those that are still coming into America, and they have to learn a new culture, a new way
Mhm.
of life, and still being able to hold on to what they were raised and born in, how does that affect you?
Mhm. Yeah, it's kind of funny to me because what helped me hold on to my roots and where I come from in my Bermudian culture is my mother. I feel like she's the epitome of a Christian woman and a Bermudian. And it was so hard for us to forget where we come from, because not only because of her accent or the type of foods that we eat or that we have afternoon tea and things of that nature, but she also made sure that while we were growing up, that we always spent time on the island. Even after we moved to the United States, me and my sister would always try to travel back to Bermuda and spend some time with our family and our friends that's on the island. And while we were even on the island, we would take part of like cultural events, even go to several museums. We would learn about the history. My grandmother is a huge proponent of making sure that we know all of the little nuances of history and of what she went through and how it was like in her day and age. And I think that really reinforced our Bermudian culture, even though we were separated and ended up living in the United States. But yeah, the primary person who helped shape my identity was my mother growing up. Hmm.
So there you go, guys. Mothers matter.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Mothers matter. And I think, oftentimes when growing up, if the mother and daughter relationship is not strong, it can just begin to continue to be thin, fizzle out, just break, just almost
Mhm.
non-existent when the child becomes an adult. And
Yeah.
that also shapes your identity.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then you can either, I really see it going like one or two ways. It can, of course, be lots of ways, but I think either you're going to emulate your mother with your own daughters,
Mhm.
or you're going to be all in and you're just going to be a smother, and you're just going to smother her to death till she's like, all right, I just got to leave home. I can't wait to go to
Yeah.
college.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was kind of like that for me, because I think being in the United States and my mom didn't have any family members around. She didn't know anybody. She didn't have any friends. She was a bit smothering, would like during college age. And I did feel that way at one point when I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get out of here because she's always in my life. You know? But what's funny is like after I went out and did my own thing, made my own mistakes, had my own traumas and domestic violence situation in my life. I ended up realizing why she was so smothering and because essentially she was fearful, you know, and holding
Absolutely.
on too tight. And ironically, even though all of these horrible things have happened to me when I was younger and like even early in adulthood, me and my mom's relationship has solidified. And she's my best friend now. And I really love that we do have this kind of relationship now. And we can talk about anything and everything. And yeah, and I think that's probably because I seen growing up how overprotective she was. And I was like, you know what? She was probably right. You know, the way how that she was. And I really hope like I'm not like that when I have children. But it does come in my mind where I'm like, oh, I'm afraid to have children because I'm gonna be scared all the time. You know?
It is definitely a journey, and I tell my oldest daughter all the time, and I say to her, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but and I get it, you're a teenager. I get it, you want to live. I get it, it's COVID, it's a pandemic. We've been stuck in the
Yeah.
house, for over a year together, 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
But my goal is to still keep you safe. I still have to
Right.
teach you. And I kind of made up in my mind once after 8th grade, and that's kind of when you start to see the shift in your daughter,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm okay if you're gonna be mad at me all the time, because
Mm-hmm.
it don't matter if I paint your toes at 2 o'clock, at 2:15, you mad at me for something. So at this
Yeah.
point, I don't care anymore. But
Yeah.
and so I look forward to it. I was like, okay, it's gonna be a while before my daughter, gets to the age and she, wants to share with me, and our relationship solidifies in that matter. But I'm
Yeah.
okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I got to be, I lived and I got to be free as a teenager, too free. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I think that plays a big deal too.
Yeah.
And times are just different now. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
times are way, way different. So um being being that person, like, I know that I'm a part of her identity.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
a lot of times for moms, when your child begins to reach a certain age, you realize and you say, oh my God, did I teach this person this? Or you see
Mm-hmm.
a smaller version of yourself and you're
Yeah.
like, oh my God, she
Right.
is just like me. And it's
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, and it may not take you may not realize it, but somebody close to you is going to point it out. And you're going to say, and you're going to begin to think about it and say, she is just like me. And that's
Mm-hmm.
probably the issue that you have a problem with this person.
Yeah.
But I still have to remember my position, remember what I'm supposed to do. And mommy, sometimes we have to say no, because I
Yeah.
know that if I let you go and do something, it's going to affect your identity. It's going to affect your character. It may make, if I allow you to do so many things, it may mess with your integrity.
Exactly. Yeah.
And remember, not only do you represent you, but you represent us. Whether you
That's true.
want to, I know I'm my own person, I'm my own woman. You still are an extension of the family. You're
Right.
still a branch on the tree.
Mm-hmm. That's fact. Yeah.
So I love the fact that you said, I mean, you just kind of gave me hope, like just stay in my
Yeah,
ground.
just yeah, stand your ground because
We
before
get
you know
weary,
it,
we get weary. Y'all try to
yeah,
wear us down.
Yep, but before you know it, she's going to be your best friend, and she's going to hold on tight to you and just be so thankful that you said no at certain times. Like looking back, I'm happy that my mom said no at certain times. I'm actually happy that she was a little overprotecting, because I look at other people's lives and I'm just like, wow, you went through all these crazy things during high school and middle school. I was like, well, now I'm happy that my life was boring and I couldn't go out like that. So,
Yeah, and I mean, I know it's hard, but I'm like, what's their
mhm,
mother name? What's their father's name? And so kids nowadays, I mean, they're driving. I mean, they have cars. Like for us,
mhm,
it was like you need to work, you need to
mhm.
save up all your little checks, and
Yeah,
then you can maybe purchase a little, a little car down the line.
yeah.
Nowadays these kids, they're getting cars as soon as they
Mhm.
turn 16, and so she wants to get in a car and so and I'm like, well, do they have insurance? I don't know. I need to know. And then
Yeah,
it's of course it's gonna be a bunch of teenagers in the car driving around the city.
right.
I'm nervous.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
nervous.
Mhm.
So I heard you mention that, you know, with your mother being a big part of shaping your identity, and and I heard you mention that you had a domestic violence relationship.
Mhm.
How important was it for you to use your voice or find your voice in that relationship or after the relationship?
Yeah, yeah, so I didn't find my voice until after all of that happened, and which I think is probably part of the plan, right? Everybody says this cliche thing where it's all like it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I really don't like that quote, but it's so true. I would not have found my voice if I did not experience the trauma that I've experienced, or overcome all these obstacles that I had to overcome. And according to scripture, your voice determines your destiny. And the power of creation is within your tongue. And I didn't realize that until I actually started using my voice. And I will also bring this other caveat out, which I didn't mention, was as a child, I was so painfully shy, so shy and so scared. I did not talk to anybody but my mom, my sister, and my grandmother. And that was it. I would go to school. I would not say a word to anybody, even though I made great grades and I was always on the honor roll and straight A's. I would not talk to anybody. I was just so terrified. And I think that's the reason why I got into all of these situations, because I never used my voice. But using your voice is how you create your life. You can break chains of bondage with your voice. You can attract amazing opportunities with your voice. Essentially, you can craft your entire life on this earth the way how you want it to be with your voice. Your voice holds endless powers, and amazing things didn't start happening for me until I actually opened my mouth and started declaring things over my life and over me personally. And even now, I still try to make sure that I'm always talking and speaking, even though like my natural reaction is just to write things and or to type things. I try to always remember to use my voice and command my atmosphere and create the life that I want to live. And I am so happy that I was able to learn that at such a young age. And that is part of my process. Every time I wake up, I use my voice. Mhm.
Awesome. I absolutely agree because when you are in that relationship, you're silenced.
Right. Yeah.
And for me, it was a little opposite growing up. At school, I was just talking. I was just talking away. And then I would
Yeah.
go home and I would go to my grandmother's house after school and I would just chat, chat, chat. When I got home with my mother, she was more serious. She was just a more
Mhm.
serious person. I would be quiet and make sure
Mhm.
that I'm not really making too much noise. And,
Yeah.
so even though it was different, it was the opposite. I still, when I got into that relationship or even just in other places, not using my voice. And
Mhm.
then after that relationship, going through the healing process, learning the power of my voice. And it honestly didn't take until, um, I would say maybe around 2014, 2015, when
Mhm.
I um, started thinking more about how I was going to share my journey, because
Mhm.
I always said that once I got healed, I would go back and I will begin to share and just kind of talk about it. And in
Mhm.
2016, the opportunity came to do my first speaking engagement for a shelter in front of a group of donors. And I
Wow.
was but it was a small group, but I guess because they were donors. They were donors of
Mhm.
big companies. But so
Yeah.
that was still like, okay, it's only 30 people in the room, but they're here for a reason, so I need to just share my
Exactly.
story.
Mhm.
um and it was the people that came up, and I mean they were from big corporations and organizations, and they came up to me and they just thanked me for sharing my story, because I was like, oh my God, did I do okay? They said
Mhm.
2 to 3 minutes, but I went to 5. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But that was the beginning of me understanding that there was power in my voice.
Mhm.
And so the more and more I get on stages, it becomes um, less of less fear, but then
Yeah.
also it's like an authority begins to just take hold of me.
Exactly.
And I am just, I want, it's like when you get out and you get free, it's like you want everybody that's in to experience, like, girl, it's freedom on the other side, come with me, come with me. And it's
Yeah.
like you just want to shove freedom down their throat, right?
Yeah.
like
Right.
drink this happy orange juice, it's great. um and when you find your voice, you will no longer allow someone or anyone to silence you again.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree.
So I am so thankful that you decided to come on the show and just share your story and then talk about how powerful your voice was.
Yeah.
And even from childhood, that was still a it was a part of your identity. But now
Right.
as we look at the woman today, she's not silenced. She's an
Yeah.
attorney. She is highly educated. And then, you know, because you've done some on immigration, so you couldn't be quiet. You had to go in and kind of talk about why this client needs to
Mhm.
stay in America or whatever. Don't
Right.
deport them. So now you have become the voice and the mouthpiece for someone else.
Mhm.
So
Exactly.
how does that translate? So now you found your voice, but now you have to be the voice for your client.
Yeah, yeah. And it was kind of funny when I first of all, I did not want to go to law school.
Oh,
I
really?
did not want to go to law school at all, but like all throughout my life there was moments that I remember where like a teacher or a pastor or a family friend would say, "You should think about law school. You should go to law
Really?
school.
Hmm.
I feel like you should go." And I would say, "Nope, no, no, no." And after I got my bachelor's degree and while I was getting my master's, I ended up working at a law firm as a paralegal. And the attorneys in the office was like, you should try to, take the law school entrance exam. And I was like, no. And
Mm-hmm.
one day I was praying because I realized like I feel like this law firm is too small for me. I feel suffocated. I feel like I
Really?
break out. I feel like I'm in a box.
Mm.
I really don't like this, God. And I prayed and I was like, you know what? I'll just take the law school entrance exam. I am not going unless I get accepted to every law school that I apply to. And it happened. And I was like, oh. And then so I went to law school and I was like so nervous, so terrified. I was still just finding my voice, speaking a little bit. I was like 25 years old, 23 or something, and just a little bit talking. And then one of my professors, who was one of the lawyers at the school, he saw something in me, and at every opportunity, he would make me speak. He would call me up in front of the class. He would make me do a speech. He made me captain of the negotiations team in law school. Every opportunity he could find to make me speak, he made me speak. And I was like, oh. But every time I did speak, things started happening, opportunities started happening. And even though I was so fearful and I really didn't like it, I would get into the habit of pushing past the fear. And when I started working at the Creators Law Firm, my boss, Takora Davis, she also seen something in me as well. And she started doing the same thing, like pushing me to speak at everything that she could find, she was just kept encouraging me, kept reinforcing my identity, reminding me who I am and whose I was, and making sure that I found the boldness within me, and making me feel like it was mine and I was worthy of this boldness and I was worthy of this voice. And because of her, even more opportunities started happening and more people kept asking me to speak. And this is actually the first time I actually told a little bit of my story with the domestic violence issues. And I always knew that it would happen. So I feel like it's so important to use your voice and to recognize who you are, and take note of those pivotal moments that are, telling you where you should go and how you should use your voice. And without those moments, I wouldn't be here where I am today. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love the fact that faith comes by hearing, right?
Yeah.
And Takora was able to continuously and intentionally and willingly pour into you. She saw something in you, the same thing that people have seen in you, as you were growing up. But when you get into a space, into a place, into an atmosphere, into a circle, and maybe and I'm saying bubble, but I'm just saying that it was an atmosphere, a place of support. So now you can be poured into, you can be pushed, right? Because we don't want to be pushed, and we know it's like a hole in the ground, and we're gonna fall on our face. But you were able to be pushed, right? You were able to be stretched, so that you can get to the ultimate you, so that you can see what has been inside of you come out of you.
Yeah, and I think it's also going back to the journey, right? So a lot of people, they just look at who you are now and they don't realize that it was a journey for you to become who you are today. And especially when people are going through a lot of hardships or trauma, or they're stuck in a situation, you're only focusing on that situation. They don't realize that it could be a gateway to your next, to your higher self. And I know it's hard, especially when you're in that situation, but life is a journey and things happen. But we have to remember that it's God who's weaving that tapestry in your life, and he's weaving together the good and the bad to make a beautiful outcome of this beautiful tapestry that is essentially you. And that's the reason why he calls us a masterpiece, because we're all uniquely made for a purpose. And so the journey is very important.
Absolutely. And I think you kind of just answered this whole question, and it was just like, how has being an attorney shape your identity? But I think you just kind of summed it up for us. Like, you really did.
Yeah, and I think even though I'm not in immigration anymore, I still feel like I found my purpose in intellectual property law. I am always advocating for my clients. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs who, like yourself, who has their own podcast or they're providing a service or some products, that is a way to impact other people. And I really love having that opportunity to defend their brand, to defend their businesses, and to protect their legacy. And of course, being an attorney helped me find my voice and find my purpose and really shape my identity and recognize who I really am. And it's so funny when I look back at who I used to be, this shy, painfully shy girl who didn't want to speak, who did not like taking pictures or having speaking engagement or anything of the sort. And I always thought that I would be a historian, working at a museum behind the scenes. And now look at me, I'm actually in the forefront speaking and advocating for my clients and helping other people find their voice and their power. It's wonderful.
Hey, she summed it up. She summed it up. And I think it's so wonderful to have you here because we get to hear your journey.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't track with you through the journey, but we got to hear it, and now we get to see you're not a finished product, right? You're still, but
Yeah.
you are a masterpiece, right? And so God is still adding unto you. But and to everybody that's listening, it's so important just from our conversation to get in the place, like even before you get in that place, to realize that where I am not happy. I am not comfortable. And then instead of complaining, you could tell the whole world, you could post it on Facebook every day. We're just gonna
Yeah.
think you're really miserable, and you hate your job. But
Yeah.
to be able to look at that and say, hey, I want change. I want to do something differently. And then to begin to not only have faith and pray, but then do the work and begin, okay, let me put in this application. Let me do whatever I need to do to
Mhm.
get to the next. And then being able to get into that atmosphere that received you and
Yeah.
supported you. And then they pushed you, right?
Mhm.
And it was able to stretch you into a place that you didn't even know existed inside of you. And now you've gotten to the place that that's who you are. You're
Yeah.
confident in it, you walk in it, you talk in it, and nobody's going to close your mouth. Nobody's going to shut you up. And not only that, not only are you doing it for yourself, but now you're doing it for your clients.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely, for other people. And it's so important. And that's the part I love of even reaching back. So yep,
Mhm.
I got what I got. I got my degrees. I got this I got it going on. But you know, but realizing that this is the place that I need to be in, and these are the people that I'm called to serve in this season,
Mhm.
in this
Mhm.
hour, at this time of my life, and
Right.
being able to do it in a happy state. Like it's possible to go to work and be happy. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Mhm.
It it absolutely is. So I wanted to ask you one more question,
Okay.
and it's diving a little bit deeper. And it is: do you believe that women of color are too silent? And if you do believe that, what are some things that may help women of color to speak up more?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like, yes, women of color are not heard enough. They don't speak up enough. Um, and I think it is a systematic issue due to systematic racism, stereotypes, prejudice, and sometimes even our own cultural backgrounds. Um, like in my industry alone, there are only 5% of attorneys who are Black. and there's over 1.3 million attorneys in the United States. And 1.9 of the 5% are intellectual property lawyers. And so you
Wow.
can imagine how many are actual Black women who are intellectual property lawyers is less than 1%.
Well, you guys are the first company that I found. I was so excited. Please know that I'm going to be one of your clients.
Okay,
I'm going to
awesome.
bug you to death.
That is just fine. That is just fine. I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, please bug me. Please ask your questions because I am here to help you. I want to empower you. I want you to be educated. I want you to get the value out of what services that you provided, that you purchased. But yeah, I do feel like women of color are not heard enough. And it's kind of funny when I'm speaking with some of my clients, a lot of them are first generation entrepreneurs. A lot of them never worked with an attorney before or never, started a business or had clients or customers of their own. And they're very timid. They're very scared. And part of my job is, yes, to empower you legally and protect you legally, but another part is also counseling and making sure that you know that this idea that you had in your head came to you for a reason. You have to reinforce that idea. You have to feel like there's a purpose behind you starting this business. There's a purpose behind you getting an attorney, making sure that it's protected for your legacy. And so a lot of times I know that I have conversations with my clients and just encouraging them and saying, yes, this is the right thing for you to do. Yes, it's going to work. Yes, you're going to make it. Yes, go ahead and market your business. Yes, tell people what you're doing. And I guess it is systematic, and I think it is cultural. And I know that starting a business is scary, but once you use your voice and once you embrace your creativity and your ideas and you go for it, then that's when we start seeing things explode. That's when we start seeing opportunities arise. And a lot of times, which I love, this is what I love part of the process. After we complete services for our clients, I always like to, keep in touch with them, see what they're doing on social media. And all the time I see them blow up. And I'm like, yes, I told you it was going to happen. I told you. And it's just so amazing. And even though nowadays we are in the men and women of color, we are now using our voice little by little, and we are also unifying our voice to try to produce change. We still have a long way to go, but at least we are starting now to create some momentum. And I'm seeing that women of color are the most educated now. Women of color are the highest number of entrepreneurs now. So at least we're making strides. I think we just need to be more bold with what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. So you guys, let's be more bold, ladies.
Yes.
And anybody looking to go to law school, just do it. And let's see what else. I loved it all. I can't wait to be a client. I attempted looking at trying to do my own trademark like 2019.
Oh,
and I started reading all of that stuff and then all the research you had to do. I was like, I quit. It was sometimes we as entrepreneurs and just moms that do it all, women that we just badasses and we just do it all the time. Like, we don't have to do it all. Like, I got into that stuff and I was like, no.
Some people think that, it's just filling out an application. It's a lot more complex than that.
The application is not a joke. And it said if you get anything wrong, they're going to charge your butt so much money. You might as well pay the person, I know that your eyes are trained. You already know how the application look, what to put in, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You got it down. You got the search
Mhm.
engines to do the research. It's too
Mhm.
much. It's
Yeah.
too time consuming. And for me, if I tell somebody I did that, they're gonna say, "Well, can you do mine?" No.
Yeah. That's true.
No.
And I'm actually happy that you mentioned that because I also was thinking about that. Women of color, they have that superhero mentality. They always want to do it
Mm.
themselves. They don't want to ask for help. They don't want to tell anybody what they're doing. They're like, oh, I can do it myself. I was taught to be a leader and I was taught I don't need anybody else. And sometimes that can hurt us and that can slow down the process and slow down our momentum. And yeah, so use your voice, ask for help, seek out people who can support you. By using your voice, you will empower yourself and get you to your destination a lot quicker.
Absolutely. Don't worry, honey. I probably still have that application just sitting there on a draft. I created an account for nothing.
Yeah.
And that's so true. It's a detriment to our business. It's a detriment to us. I think I spent 8 weeks trying to figure out how to do
Oh
my own trademark.
my
And
goodness.
then I just gave up. I was like,
Yeah.
this is silly. I have
Yeah.
no idea what I'm doing. And I'm so glad that I gave up because it gets to me, it got just too deep. And then my logo changed. My
Okay.
yeah, so my whole logo changed, everything changed. Like all of that stuff is detailed into the trademark. It was like
Yeah.
I would
Mhm.
just shoot myself right now because I would have to do the application. No, I don't even know what to do. I know what I would have to do, but I know I don't want to do it. That's what I know.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I
thank God
know,
you came
yes,
to that realization.
yes. And I love the fact that there is the Creators Law Firm, that there are women of color who are running it and they are able to help, like you said, first generation entrepreneurs. There's so
Mhm.
many of us,
Mhm.
and we do need the help because grandmama don't know, big mama don't know, our mothers don't know, our fathers don't know, Uncle
Mm,
Jerry doesn't know, our brothers can't help us. Like, and
yeah.
so after you've gone through the family, you can just really look down the line. You are the trendsetter. You are the chain breaker. You're the
Exactly.
generational. You're the person that's going to bring generational wealth to your
Mhm.
family. And
Mhm.
so we didn't go to law school,
Yeah.
so let's not pretend like we did. So I'm all about now just being in business, being a cosmetologist for 20 plus years,
Mhm.
just everywhere in the beauty industry. I am just all about working smarter and not
Wow.
harder.
Mm.
And if you're good at it and I have no idea what I'm doing, I'm paying you for your knowledge. I'm paying you for your experience.
Exactly.
Just as my cost for extensions may be different from the girl up the street, but you're paying me for 20 plus years of experience. You're paying
Exactly.
me for all of my good expensive products because a lot of stuff you haven't heard of, but I have, and
Yeah.
you love it. You love it on your hair. Oh my goodness, girl, what was that you use? Oh, girl, that's so and so, whatever product. But
Right.
can I purchase it? Well, you can get it, at the front of the salon, but you can't just go out to the store and get it. So I
Right.
understand, and I would rather be smart and focus my energy and my time working on a business on a creative side because that is
Exactly.
my angle. That's
Mhm.
what I'm good at. It's like
Yeah.
we want to create, then we want to do the budget and be over the finance department, write all the checks, and then
Yeah.
we're supposed to paint this mural by Friday. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's what we strive to do. We strive to give our clients peace of mind so they can focus on those important things. They can focus on marketing. They can focus on actually, performing the services that they provide to their clients, while we do the hard stuff. And it's smart to do it that way. And we all have to lean on delegating more and seeking for help more, especially if you're trying to secure a legacy for your family. You want to do it the right way, right?
Absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. So it brings us to our next portion. It's called Spill Your Guts, and it's just a little fun portion. So my question would be, what was your guilty pleasure to do during the pandemic? Although we're kind of still in it, but the 2020 part.
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Well, I think, well, it's always, I don't really call it a guilty pleasure because I am like so open with it. Basically, I am a huge anime and K-pop fan. So I was listening to a lot of K-pop and binge watching a whole bunch of anime movies and shows and things of that nature. So that's what I've been doing during the pandemic.
Okay, okay.
Mhm.
Cool, cool, cool. So I love it. I love it. Tell us how we can find you, how we can connect with you. Those of you that are listening that are entrepreneurs, this is LaVon Jones. Look, I'm gonna let her tell you about it. While I'm trying to reintroduce you. Right. Just tell
Okay.
us.
Yeah, yeah. So if you want to find me or like to hire me as your intellectual property attorney, you can find me at www.creatorslawfirm.com. You can also find me on Instagram at lavon.jones. The Creators Law Firm, we help first generational entrepreneurs, small business owners. We handle trademarks, copyrights, contracts, business formation, infringement support, and a whole bunch of other things. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can most definitely do so and schedule a call with me at thecreatorslawfirm.com. I would be so honored if you became one of my clients, or even if you just want to follow me on Instagram. I love traveling. I love beauty and things of that nature. So you get to get a little sneak peek into my life on my Instagram.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I love it. So don't worry, I will be reaching out. You're my new lawyer. Look. um because it's such an unknown realm to especially people that are entrepreneurs. I'm telling you guys, the LLC is not enough.
Yeah,
Um, it's a great start, but
yeah.
it's nowhere near enough for when we're talking about legacy. And if you
Hmm.
created your business for legacy, then you need to look into the creators law firm to about IPs, intellectual property, trademarks are huge. You want to have your stuff trademarked. And again, I mean, you can try it on your own, but just come on over to the creators law
Yeah, yeah,
firm.
yeah, please at least schedule a call for us. There has been times when I had people who did the trademarks themselves, and a lot of issues happened, and it was a lot more money for us to fix it than it would have been if they just came to us in the first place. So you don't want to be that person.
Nope, nope. And I'm so glad because a lot of times when you're starting out in business, things change. You have this great plan and you
Right.
try it out, and sometimes it fails. So,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
you have to revamp and recreate and come up with new things. And so, when you having the attorneys to help you through the process and help you save money. They don't want to take your money. They want to help you make money,
Yeah.
because if you're making money, they making money.
Exactly, exactly. And some people don't realize it like that. We want to see our clients succeed and we want them to truly have peace of mind because, especially, I want to say like about 90% of our clients are minorities. And we really want as much minorities to take back the marketplace, right? We want our stamp in the marketplace and we deserve it, right? And and not only for our legacy, but it empowers us to create even more change at a quicker rate.
Absolutely. Well, that is our show for today, Lavon. Thank you so much for stopping by, giving us all of this valuable information. And
Mhm.
so I would ask you to just leave us with a great quote or just something from you as it relates to, um, healing after an abusive relationship, and just how powerful your voice is and how it has shaped your identity and
Mhm.
how it can shape ours.
Yeah. So I would say, in the midst of the pain, suffering, and hurt, always look upon the horizon to the future. And when you're faced with these setbacks, try to remember that setbacks are essentially a setup. In reality, we are diamonds. And to create the most valuable diamond, not only do you need a lot of pressure, but you also need a lot of weight and a lot of heat to create the most valuable diamond. So it's all relative. If you experience a great attack, then you must have an amazing purpose ahead of you. So hold on to this truth and just prepare yourself for that podium that will present itself in the end.
Well, that was beautiful. So, all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and that's it for today.
All right. Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Yes, 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 yes. So, guys, thank you so much for jumping on. This was an amazing show. I am so excited. If you have not picked up your copy of Decisions, the book, feel free to pick up your copy. The link is in the comments. You can send over your $20 payment. I will send you an autographed copy of Decisions, the book. This was an amazing show. I hope that you will join me again next Thursday. And as always, remember to love yourself, that your voice matters, and most of all, that there is power in your voice. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I am Chantel Branch, your domestic violence specialist, educating individuals on why their decision to remain silent keeps them locked in abuse. And I will see you guys again